Hello and welcome back to SketchUp Assist. In this video, I'm going to give you an update on the MCP server. We now have the truss functionality, at least for fink style trusses, working pretty well. And we're going to show you how we're able to now build a simple model like this using only the prompts in Claude. So stick around. Okay, so we're back in SketchUp. We can see the server's running here. Let's get rid of that dialog box, and then we can also ask, are you connected to SketchUp? Okay. Looks good. Okay, perfect. So I spent a bit of time trying to see if it would be possible to, from a prompt standpoint, create realistic roof trusses, and frankly kind of gave up on it. The statistical nature of the LLMs, I think, is going to be a problem. You can execute some of these prompts multiple times and you will get different answers. I think what we could expect, though, is that the Claude, for example, would be pretty good at determining which tools to call. So in the end, I ended up effectively coding a mini plugin within the MCP server that creates a fink truss. Actually, we have king truss and fink truss. You would need to go in and sort of, modify that or extend it to do different truss types. But it's doing a pretty good job on creating a sort of, pseudo-realistic fink truss at this point. Now, it's not an engineered truss, not meant to be. It's just meant to look somewhat realistic for modeling some simple structures. So let's dive in and see what we get now. If you remember in the last video, we were getting some pretty bad structures. If you didn't see that, you can go check it out. Here's the link. But let's ask it to create a fink style truss with 24-foot span, and we'll do a 612 pitch. Okay, let's see how well it did. Okay, so it's looking a lot better than what we were seeing last time when we were trying to more or less let Claude figure it out. So you can see dimensional lumber. This is all done with 2x4s. That's kind of coded in at this point. That could be extended to change the lumber dimensions depending on, for example, the span. We can confirm the span here of 24 feet. That looks good. That's what we asked for. And you'll notice it does create some overhang here by default. Now that behavior could be different for you. I think that the attitude you should take with this is to be explicit. So, if you want it to have overhang or to have no overhang or 2 feet overhang, it's just to be explicit with it and tell it what you want. Because again, there is a sort of random nature to some of this if you let it try to decide. Just to kind of show that it's not we're not just cherry picking a one that works here. Let's do and no overhang. And that's not a great sentence, but Claude will handle it without any problems. We'll delete this other one after the new one comes up. There we go. So let's delete the old one. Okay, so here is our 30-foot span truss. There we go. 812 pitch and no overhang. Let's do a 20-foot 412. Include 2 feet overhang. Okay, here we go. And so 20 feet. And there's our 2 feet overhang on that. So it's doing a pretty good job there, creating these trusses. We did put in a king truss because that was kind of what we did, king post style or king style, I guess, king style truss. We can just leave that all the same. Delete this one. Okay. Obviously a bit easier structure to deal with. But I actually started here to get the top and the bottom chords sort of dialed in. There was quite a bit, the first pass, the bottom chord overlaps the top chords, and some of the geometries were just unrealistic. The sort of things that I did as I walked Claude code through the requirements for creating these trusses. So I basically dictated to Claude code. Claude code wrote the Ruby code to create these. You would tell it things like, the bottom chord width, the max width is going to be equal to the span. It should never be more or less. It should be exactly equal to the span. And then the top of the bottom chord, that distance or width is going to be dictated by the angle cut on the bottom chord. And that angle cut is dictated by the pitch. Claude's really good at taking that kind of information and translating that into the code needed to create these structures. And then, for example, for the king post, you would just say, the king post should extend from the middle of the bottom chord up to the apex. And then you have to train it because, again, it will overlap and do some pretty wonky things at these interfaces. So you have to kind of train it to, train is probably not the right word, but you have to coach Claude code to create the proper Ruby code that truncates these structures in the right location. Now, you could also obviously write these plugins by hand, or these tools by hand within the MCP server. But turns out that Claude code's pretty efficient at doing that task for us. So I did utilize that to create the components that were needed to create these trusses. Now, how well does it do at now incorporating these into a more complex structure? So let's give it a shot. Create a 10 feet by 10 feet shed style structure. Include we'll do a 4-inch slab, concrete slab for the base. Include wall framing, utilizing 2x4 framing members. Do not install any sheathing. Include fink style roof trusses. I'm having a hard time here. With a 612 pitch. Place those trusses 24-inch on center. Okay, looks like we have our slab here. It's looking pretty good. It's working on the bottom plates. Okay, and it's not looking good here. But it's not done, so let's wait and see. Okay, so unfortunately, it looks like it's going to leave those there. So we definitely are not off to a great start here. Top plates look probably like they're going to be reasonable. Yep, so it has really lost track of the position of things. What's interesting is I've run this same experiment many times, and it pretty much always has gotten this part right. The only issue we saw was like in the previous video where it would tend to place the, occasionally the entire wall framing structure, sometimes just the studs in the top plate, a little above the slab or the bottom plate. And so the reality is this isn't much different than that. It's sort of a pretty similar mistake that it's making. And what I've found is it really struggles with keeping track of the reference point for structures. So, for example, a reference point for the slab and whether or not that slab sits above or below the horizon. And that seems to be kind of the root of most of the issues I've seen. Now, another issue here is that it's stacking all of the trusses on top of each other. We should be able to work through that, but we'll need to first start off with resolving this issue. So there are a number of things happening here. So first off, the bottom plate. Okay, the bottom plate. So we'll fix these one by one, I think. So it's got this right, and in fact, the slab is setting at z, starting here at z equals 0. So it had this dimension right, z equals 4. Yeah, and so it sees this right. Yes, please go ahead and fix these issues. There's still a problem here. It left the bottom plate. Okay, so this is one thing that it's a little irritating, and I think I mentioned it in the last one, is that it will completely abandon a model and rebuild it. That's probably fine here. But if you had a really complex model that took 30 minutes to build, the last thing in the world you want it doing is deleting the entire model and redrawing it because of a mistake that you could easily fix as a human by just selecting those items and shifting them in the right direction. So there's probably room for some of these mistakes, or I shouldn't say mistakes. For some of these issues to be resolved in a more systematic way, utilizing the SketchUp tools that are there. So for example, move, right? So again, what we just saw, we would have, as humans, would have just selected the elements and moved them, and the approach here is to just wipe everything out and rebuild it. So not super efficient, but I will say on this second run, things are looking really good. I'm even not hating the corners of this particular iteration, although this corner clearly has something going on here that's a little odd. Okay, we won't nitpick about that because we're really here to talk about the trusses. So you can see it does a good job of setting that first truss. A recurring issue, as I mentioned before, is the trusses getting stacked. So the trusses are stacked. Okay. Okay, so it removed them all. Again, we probably would have just grabbed them and moved. And yep, here again, it thinks it has moved them. Why do you think you moved the trusses? They're still technically they're overlapping. Okay, it says it's trying it, but I'm not optimistic here. Okay, the approach you're taking let's see what it brings back when it queries the locations here. Okay, yeah, so that is the right result because in fact they are all stacked or overlapping. There we go. Okay. Yes, that is the right approach. Let's let it finish. Okay, great. Okay, now one thing that we do see, again, this is another thing we'll probably need to fix permanently, is that it always places this last truss just off of the edge of the framing here. Now, fortunately, it's always been able to fix this pretty well. I'm going to do a couple things here. First off, I don't like the look of this without overhang, so let's first fix. Let's fix the last truss, setting off of the framing. Okay. So it looks like it does clearly understand what's happening, and I think it actually fixed it. Yes, it did. It fixed it. All right. Now we can take a big risk here and ask it, please add 12-inch overhang to the trusses. Now, it's going to delete these, which again is not great, but it really doesn't have the capability right now to modify a truss. It only knows how to just recreate them. Now, the question is, will it remember everything that we just went through and place these trusses back in the proper position? Okay, looks like it did a good job this time. Okay, looks great. Okay, so there you have it. So we've made improvements to the truss functionality. It's not perfect, but looks a lot better. It's relatively consistent. As far as the individual trusses, you can see that the placement sometimes takes a little coaching. And as we saw in the first video, some of the details of the framing take a little coaching. The big problem I see right now is the fact that it's unable to fix something without often deleting it and completely recreating it, which is hugely inefficient. So I think some work around utilizing some of the tools in SketchUp to fix things would be a better option. So that's it. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Hey, if you're finding the channel useful or interesting, please consider subscribing. And if you have any feedback for any of our content, please consider leaving comments. Thank you.